Trey, it's good to have you.
Yeah.
How you been?
Good. How about you?
Really good. So tell me about the name of your company. First of all, tell everybody what the name of your company is and how you came up with that name.
Yeah. The name is Rare Roses. When I first started, I was doing a lot of vintage clothing, and a lot of vintage brands like the name of One of One or Exclusive, or names that kind of, are synonyms of something like that. So Rare just popped to my head as a name that I thought sound cool, and it fit the narrative of these shirts are rare. Once you buy one, you're going to be the only one having that one. You're not going to see someone else rocking that one. So just kind of tied in with my last name, Rare Roses, and yeah, I've loved it ever since.
So last name is Roses.
Last name is Rose, yeah.
And then you just added the S there, and then Rare for 101. And talk to us about this whole vintage movement. What is vintage fashion?
So my first love started in sneakers, and I think that same kind of feeling that I would get from sneakers came in vintage with just kind of the exclusivity. Sneakers was really building around, oh, I have these, they don't. They can't get them because they're sold out or whatever it may be. And then when I kind of learned about vintage designs, I was like, oh, well, money can't buy this design because it was made 30 years ago and most of them are ruined, whereas like a sneaker, at some point you can just get the shoe, money talks, you'll make it happen. But with vintage, it was kind of like whoever can find it, whoever can acquire it might be one of the only people to.
So how do you like, what are the best strategies to find vintage? Like what are folks doing to be in that game?
When I started, I was in thrift stores, in flea markets every day, just grinding through disgusting clothes, trying to find the cool stuff. Nowadays, when I picked the name Rare Roses, I realized I wasn't going to sell any lower tier stuff. I only wanted the Rare Roses pieces. So I kind of moved to, now I buy product off other thrifters and stuff just so I can have the best of the best. And I really just want, stuff that you're going to see like, oh, I haven't seen this design before. Like, this is special. This fits me. This is my favorite sports team. This is my dad's favorite sports team. Whatever it may be. So,
what's the most proud piece you've sourced? Like one where you found it and you're like, I cannot believe I just found this piece. How did this happen to me? What's that piece?
Oh, that's a tough question.
That's what we do around here. We have the tough questions.
Yeah. I have one that's really special to me. There's a photo of my mom and my dad with my older brother. I think they're at maybe Disney World or Disneyland back in the 90s. And my dad's wearing this Houston Rockets. I think they won in 94, like NBA Finals tee. And he grew up in Houston. And so to me, it was just really cool that like it just kind of fit the family line. And so I came across one of those one time and I was like, this is sweet. I think I've seen it before. I brought it home. And then sure enough, I pull up that photo and there's a pic of my dad rocking that same design.
Was it the exact same shirt?
Oh, I wish.
Similar design?
Yeah. Same exact design. Same tee. So.
Wait, so it was the same one?
Yeah.
So what you're saying, it's just not the tee that he was wearing, but it was the exact same design and everything. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it'd be crazy to.
I pulled it out of my closet yesterday, and I was like, "This is legit."
That's cool. Legit. Okay, so with Rare Roses, do you source and sell vintage then that has already obviously been out in the marketplace, and then you're just helping people with their vintage collection, or do you take those vintage and then do you make it Rare Roses? How does that work?
I've done a little bit of both. When I started getting too attached to t-shirts, and I was like, I don't want to sell this. Like, I want to, even though it doesn't fit me, like, I want to have it. And so I started sewing tags into the neck that said Rare Roses, just so it could kind of like always have a piece of me and my brand with it. Almost like a Where's George dollar bill back in the day, just so I could still kind of track it down if I wanted to. And I've come across vintage stores and I'll go through the racks and I'll see my tag on one of the shirts, and it's kind of a cool feeling. So that was one of the ways that I would kind of just like keep things around my name and just like with me, because I was too attached to these tees to want to get rid of them.
Got it. And then talk to us about these hats that we're wearing. Like, what's the inspiration here?
Well, first of all, I wear a hat every day, and I have since probably 7th, 8th grade. Even to prom, I'm wearing
Really?
just like a big cowboy hat or whatever it may be. For some reason, hats have just been my thing. When I'd go on vacation, hats were the things that I could afford to buy to remember that trip, but also it wasn't just going to be a trinket that sat on my shelf. You know, it would get worn, it would get remembered, the trip, whatever it may be. And so once I had been doing vintage for about 2 years, COVID hit, and it was time to take the brand onto the internet. And I just realized that
Let's put a pin in that. It's interesting because you can wear a hat 7 days a week and it's fine. You can't wear that T-shirt seven days a week. Pants you can maybe wear twice a week, whatever, but it's true.
Yep.
Like hats, they have a lot of mileage. You can get a lot of usage out of that hat, and they are pretty affordable. It's a really cool little accessory. So that's pretty insightful, actually.
Yeah, and another thing I love about hats is it's the best branding because it's right
It's
here.
right there, front center.
On every person.
Yeah.
You know, you get a celebrity to wear the hat, and it's like they're not taking photos of their feet, they're taking photos of their face, and the hat is just...
It's
So
right
that was
there.
one thing I learned off the jump too was, oh my gosh, like this is putting the logo right on the face. So that really helped too.
Okay. So speaking of celebrities, talk to us about the Christian Pulisic story.
Yeah.
He plays in AC Milan out there in Serie A in Italy, and he represents the United States national team in soccer. Some people call him Captain America. Tell us about that story. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, and it's been cool to connect with him. But so I had a homegirl, and she was helping me sell lots of products. She had lots of friends that wanted stuff, and this is when I was first kind of rolling out product, and she would deliver it to friends and this and that. And so she's like, hey, all my friends are wearing the same stuff as me. Can I get something a little special? And so I took the tags that I would sew in all the vintage tees. It was just a simple tag, black. It would say Rare Roses on it. And I went and had 3 of them sewn right on the top right here. And I just planned on that one being one, you know. I thought it was cool, but didn't take much creativity, much thought. It just kind of came to be. And she ended up going on a date with one of his teammates when they were here in Salt Lake playing Puerto Rico at Real Stadium.
Shout out to Puerto Rico.
And they're at dinner, and he's like, oh, that's a cool hat. Like, let me try it on. And he throws the hat on. He's like, this is the best fitting hat I've ever had. Like, let me buy this from you. And she's like, no, you can't buy it. It's 101. Like, it's made just for me. And a guy like that, he could probably get whatever he wants. So when you tell him, like, no, I won't even let you buy this from me, he just probably had to have it. And so...
You can't tell no to Captain America.
Yeah, he gets what he wants.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, she's up dancing, doing her thing. I don't even know. But she comes back to her table, and sure enough, he's gone and the hat's gone. He must have just snatched it and Ubered away. I don't even know. But it ended up benefiting me because a week later, Inter Miami, very first game, brand new stadium, brand new team. He came and watched their game and wore that hat. And
Is that when Messi was playing already? How long ago was this?
This might have been pre-Messi.
Pre?
Right before they got him, yeah. But sure enough, MLS posts him there with a Rolex to match, taking a photo, and he's...
Let's have the team post that photo. I think that'd be cool
we'll
to have
drop it
that.
down. Yeah.
And then
I got the
show
hat right here.
us the hat.
So this is the hat. Obviously it became a selling hat at this point.
But so the original, did it have the actual tags?
So it had the tag sewn in right here, which in terms of getting that made was actually a pain. I had to get someone that wanted to sew all 4 sides of 3. Like, it just took a long time for one little hat. And so I ended up printing it, but that became one of my most popular hats.
And then how many of those printed ones are out there in the wild now?
Well, so I first dropped it with the tags. I probably did about 100 of them.
With tags?
With the tags sewn on there. And it was really expensive to make, and it just took a lot of time, and people were asking for them. I'm like, well, I'm a couple weeks out. And so I went with printing and probably done another couple hundred after that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So when you print a hat, how many usually get released? Like per drop?
I like to stick around 100.
100?
I've had some that will sell less than 100, and so I'll hold on to some product. But then if it sells out at 100, I like that because, then it kind of builds this, oh, I missed out. Next time there's a drop, I should be prepared. I should be ready right at the time it comes out. It just makes me a lot easier to kind of track those numbers if I know, like, right when it drops, 90% of the customers are there ready to go. I don't have to kind of wait a week to see, oh, are people still buying? It's just like I know day of.
So I have a buddy. I was wearing some sneakers, and I was kind of flexing a little bit. I thought the sneakers were cool. And then this buddy of mine comes up to me and he's like, Mendez, if you are rocking sneakers and you're trying to flex on sneakers that you bought at Foot Locker, it doesn't work that way, bro. You got to buy them at these vintage or like 101 type shops.
Yeah.
So, I mean, numbers matter and availability matters and rareness, uniqueness, vintage matters. It's just crazy how those mechanisms work in fashion.
And how it just works in someone's brain, you know? Because you can even try to like push that, oh, I don't care about that. People still care. Gets you.
Of course you care. It
still gets you.
Yeah, of course you care. I mean, that Christian story's... Haven't you seen that hat in more than one setting? With Christian?
He'll take it on vacation. He'll just like post random hanging out videos.
So just so you know, and I don't know if maybe it's the universe delivering or God delivering, but after you and I met, like 3 days later, I see Christian with a Rare Roses hat that wasn't that emblem hat. Yeah. So he's rocking the brand for sure.
Yep.
Okay, another hat that has a really interesting story and kind of a really illegal story. It sounds like you like getting into trouble.
The band hat.
So you have a banded hat. You're kind of like that Jordan 1 story here. Yeah. So tell us 100%. About the banded illegal hat that you created.
So this was
Is it just the hat? Is it the shirt too?
I think it's just the design.
The design?
Yeah, I think it's the design.
But did it start off with the hat or with a shirt or what?
Yeah, so when I first went on the internet, so this is actually the first non-vintage product that I did. The first like Rare Roses branded stuff. I did a shirt and 2 colors of hats, and it was this hat right here, which is everyone's favorite, you know. Can't go wrong with it. But it's the 1998 hat, and it really resembles everyone's favorite sports team.
The entire nation's favorite sports team ever.
We'll be careful with what we call it. But yeah, so that hat was an absolute hit from day one. I mean, people were going crazy for it, and me doubting myself when I first made them, I think I made 40, which ended up benefiting me more than I would ever think, because 40 people got them, and then hundreds of people wanted it, but they couldn't get it because I was still learning how manufacturing worked, how printing worked, how to get more made, and I wasn't as efficient as I am today. So it took me months to get more made, and that just built in these people's brain. They needed it. And after that hat dropped the second time, I think I did 150 hats in 5 minutes on my restock drop, and that was like the best feeling of, holy crap, I could do this for the rest of my life. That was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say it. I'm going to say it. Did the Utah Jazz have any idea how many of those are out there in the market? Are they going to come see you after they view this podcast right now?
Yeah, I probably made about like 5 or 6 of them and gave them out all for free.
Yeah, there's maybe 2 out there.
Yeah. They asked me, when they sent me my cease and desist, they put, send us all the inventory that you have left, mail it to us, the actual product.
Send it to us.
Send us all your sales history, all the money you've made. Let us know all this information, which at the time, I think I was like 22 and I was terrified.
When you first got that, was it delivered via mail or did somebody
email.
Serve you? Oh, it was an email?
Yeah.
Once you opened that email, what was your initial reaction?
I'm going down forever. I don't know. Like, am I ever going to pull myself out of this hole? I didn't really know what to think. I texted lots of mentors I had that, you know, might have known lawyers. I don't even know what I thought they knew. I just knew they knew more than me.
Sure.
Sure enough, no one knew anything. No one gave me advice. No one really knew what to do in that situation. But it ended up not being bad at all. I think they just scared me straight.
You just sent the Jazz all your inventory and...
No. I just sent him an email, and I was like, hey, I'm sorry. I've just played. I mean, I played dumb, but also, like, I was dumb, you know? Yeah. So, like, I wasn't the smartest. I just was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I didn't really realize this was a big deal.
What they should have done is collaborated with you, huh?
I think so.
Since it was that big of a hit.
They collaborate with out-of-state people all the time, and it's a success. I think if they were to collaborate with an in-state person that has a community built just like they do, it would go absolutely bonkers.
Let's go, Ryan Smith. Let's start collaborating here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what people want to see. They want to see someone from their community do something with their favorite or their hometown team, you know? I think that would be a fun, cool thing.
That Mark Twain quote, an expert is an ordinary fellow from another town. For some reason, we love doing business with out-of-towners instead of the local crew. Let's get it local.
It's really
Let's
how
make
it
it
is.
happen.
Yeah.
That hat's sick. Show folks the hat again. I showed that to my kids, and they absolutely love it. Like, I think out of all the gear I've ever showed them, like, they just went buck wild on that. So great job producing
Appreciate
something
it.
really, really cool.
Yeah.
And you had no idea that it was going to be that much of a hit when you first created it, right?
Oh, not at all. I just thought it was like homage to home, you know? Just like, here's what I grew up around, you know?
So you're just doing it for love, and the jazz are coming after you. Psh, what's going on?
Which, okay, I took it as a compliment
Yeah.
after months of being scared.
So what's the name of that hat?
I call it the 1998 hat,
The 1998 hat. Cool.
which is just year I was born and when they were wearing that logo. So
That's cool. So Trey, have you ever created a product or a design or artistry where you're like, oh, this is sick. This is my best work. And then the sales just didn't reflect as such. Because I know some of the other stuff you've done, you're like, this is cool, but it's whatever. And then it just takes off.
Yeah.
Has the adverse happened?
100%. I mean, my most recent collection I thought was like my bread and butter, the absolute best designs, which I still do love them, but like the sales didn't show that. You know, I've had designs that took me 15 minutes of just kind of like playing around on my laptop real quick, and then next thing you know, we're still wearing it today, and it's like one of my best selling hats.
Is that a 15-minute logo?
Oh yeah,
design?
so such a simple concept to me. Just I've always loved Old English font, and so I just was like, oh, I should like Old English R and put my saying on the back, and boom, now it's like the most popular one. But then ones that, you know, I'm like working on it myself, paying other designers to help, you know, going all over the place, and then months later the designs finally come to be, we get the stuff made, and then you like see the sales and you're like, oh, like people didn't love it as much as I did.
So how do you come to terms as an artist with that? Because it's, I mean, you want to keep your artistic basically like demeanor or you know, spirit, but you also are a business person. How do you come to terms with both of those facets, if you will?
I think taking my ego out of it and just realizing that not everyone has the same taste that I have. Just, I don't know. To me, it's more of like I should learn from this instead of getting angry at this, and just, you know, apply it to the next, and just forever build the knowledge of like, okay, this is what has continued to work. But also, as a creative, as an artist, I'm going to still do the things even if they're not necessarily going to work for money either, you know? Because to me, it's not 100%
Well, that's how you stay real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, my wife's an author, and we're sitting in her library right now. And some of the books that she thought, man, this is going to be a hit, this is going to be amazing, don't turn out to be that. And then some where, like you said, literally on a vacation that we took, she came up with a concept and wrote the book, I kid you not, in 15 minutes. It was a picture book, so it was a children's book. 15 minutes, and it was one of the biggest contracts she's ever landed. And it literally took her 15 minutes to create.
Funny how that works.
And, you know, stuff that she poured her heart and soul into for 3 years, writing it, editing it, proofreading it, sending it to other copywriters, etc., just didn't fly off the shelf. So it's really interesting as an artist. You have to stay, you know, true to who you are, so that you can keep that artistry going. Because if you go way into the commercial realm, like that essence is going to die. 100%. So I'm just curious how artists and creatives, how you can cope with that, because it can't be easy.
I think sometimes we almost overcomplicate it too, you know, like some things might make sense in my brain because I've been thinking about it for 4 months and kind of connected all these dots and it flows well to me. But, you know, like maybe I didn't portray that story through video or whatever my marketing was that people really understood. And I think it could just feel a little overcomplicated to them. I think it's something that I'll forever always learn and just kind of rock with.
Love it. Okay, so what's your vision with Rare Roses? Where are we taking this thing?
It's a fun question for me because I have like the highest expectations in the world and none at all. which is just kind of funny. Same with kind of just having the logo thing. I want stores in the future.
Like your own stores?
Yeah. I want them at a point where I don't have to run the store day to day, but just kind of like the community aspect of it. You need a kind of a store to build that up and keep that flowing. So I think stores in some of my favorite cities and being able to travel back.
Okay, so what are your favorite cities? Where are we going? New York?
We're going New York, Park City. If we had New York and Park City only, I would be the happiest person ever. But I would love to do some, maybe like a San Diego, maybe like a Hawaii, and obviously international would be cool. But we'll stay humble for now and rock.
Puerto Rico.
That would be a sick place for a store, and they're probably starting to get some cool stuff.
They're about the rare roses. Yeah. Let's go. Well, cool. So you wanna have stores? What else? What else is in the horizon?
I want to have other businesses too. I think Rare Roses has been super fun. It's taught me a lot, but I also think it has opened up my eyes to just other things in life that I think I would enjoy, other businesses. I really think, starting with an idea and just like kind of bootstrapping it and trying to grow it is a hobby to me. That's fun to me, of just trying to like figure out how to make things work and this or that and how to grow it. And so I don't necessarily know what it may be. As a kid, I always thought I was going to be an inventor, and I didn't necessarily know what.
Sure.
I think one day you'll see a random invention that
you're inventing right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if you don't mind me asking, you can disclose it or not, but how old are you?
I'm 26.
26. So I think for a lot of the viewers, business owner, 26, artist, chasing your passion. Has it been easier than you thought, harder than you thought, or is it kind of par for the course?
It's hard to say because I'm not in a hard moment right now. I want to say it's been easier than I thought. But also, I've gone through some things that have really, really sucked. I got robbed 4 years ago, right when I was at like the very start peak of the business, and I had to completely start over from zero.
So what do you mean you got robbed?
I had essentially my business in these giant duffel bags, and I was on vacation with some friends. We were getting new product to bring back to Utah to sell in Las Vegas, and I went on another vacation from Las Vegas, and they brought the product back, and they held on to it in their store, and their store got robbed. Oh. And so my entire
was
business...
it an inside job, do you think, or did it truly
it was.
get robbed?
I caught the guy.
So elaborate. Let's go.
It's a good story.
I want to hear this.
I get back in town. I think it's a Friday night. I go in to their store to grab my stuff, and it's pouring rain.
Can you disclose the store?
My buddy's Two-Tone. It was in Provo, sneaker store. Good homies of mine. They're still running there in Orem, right by Zaxby's and over there where Gen X used to be. It's pouring rain, and so I think, I live close. I'm not going to carry all my product out in the rain. I'll just come back in the morning. Worst mistake ever. I wake up, get a phone call. Hey, we're down here at the store. A cop is on the way. We got robbed last night. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to think. So I drive down there. Sure enough, all of my buddies are standing there with a police officer. He has a pen and notepad. He's taking notes of kind of things. And the cop didn't really do much. I walked in, noticed that the door hinges, or like where the locks go, were like smashed with a hammer. Not kicked in. Small things that I noticed were like, this isn't a robbery. Like, I was just super confused. The cop's like, I'm going to take this lockbox of cash and go get fingerprints on it. And in my head, I was like, Provo Police Department doesn't have fingerprinting technology. And maybe they do. In my head, I was like, this guy's just pretending like he wants to help us.
Sure.
And he just doesn't care that a bunch of 22-year-olds got robbed. He's just going to let it be. I tell the police officer, hey, if whoever robbed this stuff tries to sell any of this product within Utah, I'll know and I'll get the information to you. I know anyone that owns a store or sells on Instagram or does this, and so I'll send some texts out and I'll get if they try to sell it in Utah, I'll know. Well, one of these kids that was with us, he had his email logged in at this store's computer, and the next day, email came in from Delta. He had bought a flight to Los Angeles. So I text him, and I'm like, hey, dude, you want to come to a house party tomorrow night? And this is the type of kid, especially at this age, would never pass up a chance to party. He's like, yeah, I'd love to be there, but I know he can't make it because he has a flight. So I know he's trying to sneak away to go sell our stuff. Long story short, I pull up at his house the next morning, watch him load suitcases in. I'm like getting ready to go confront him, and he starts driving away. And it was pretty gnarly. We got into like kind of a high-speed chase and almost crashed, and tons of cops, 20 cop cars pull up, and he gets arrested. And I essentially, I don't know if it was the right or the wrong decision. I told him, hey, I won't press charges. I won't do anything. I don't want to affect your life with the law if we get all of our stuff back and like you apologize and like make things right. I didn't get any of the stuff back, and I didn't get to press charges. And
Wait. You didn't get the stuff back?
I got like
where was the stuff?
Someone had it that I don't even know still to this day. I've had some success along the way since, and he's reached out congratulating me, trying to, hey, I never meant to rob your stuff. I meant to rob their stuff. Your stuff just happened to be there. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter. One, you robbed. Two, you robbed my friends too. Like, it's just, I don't know. Stealing is kind of an unforgivable thing to me. And obviously people can change, but something like that, it was just really tough. And so I got him signed a contract that he would send me money and make it right. He gave me maybe $500-600 worth, and then it was kind of last
out of
$5-8 grand worth, which
at
the time was $1 million in my brain. You know, like that was my whole business. That was all my inventory. I had years to build some of that stuff up. A lot of those shirts are vintage tees that, they were worth $100, but realistically, you know, it could be worth anything, especially nowadays. You know, a couple years later. So something like that, big learning moment. Just like, don't let this reset you. Sure enough, actually, the day that we caught him and the police came and everything, we threw a pop-up that night, used the photo of him in handcuffs as the flyer. That was the one thing I told him. I said, hey, I'll make sure that like your life isn't affected by the law, but I will make sure that anyone that knows me knows to never do business with you, and so I will embarrass you.
Should we say what his name is?
Yeah, Frank Navarrete, dude.
Don't do it, Frank.
He actually said he was going to give me my money at the end of July this month.
Hey, have you made a t-shirt with Frank being arrested?
It's actually a great idea.
I think we should do that.
But no one wants his face. No one wants to wear him on a shirt.
Hey, just put like blindfolds on it, just kind of, or a mask or something, block it off. I think that'd be a cool tee. Would you guys buy that tee?
I mean, that's a good story.
Yeah, it's a good story. Hey, just put inspired by Mendez just on the side of the tee or something.
I like it.
Okay, so hardship there. What are some of the biggest things, like biggest accomplishments where you're like, this has been so cool. I'm so glad I started Rare Roses because this has happened and this is how I'm helping other people. What would that story be?
That's a tough question. There's many small victories that are just a big thing to me. I think even just the community that I've built, the people that have come around and supported me, you know, people that growing up I was playing sports against, and so we never really liked each other because from ages 8 to 18 we were going head to head rivals from other high schools and this and that. And now, you know, I'm having pop-ups and they're coming through and we've become friends. Things like that, being able to build a community around people that, you know, you probably would have normally not interacted with. So something like that has been.
And you keep mentioning the name community. What is community? What does that even mean in your world? Or is that more of a like a brand's term? Like how does that work? Because I keep hearing the word community. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a comfortable place to be. It's somewhere you feel invited, accepted. It could be anything, you know. Some people's community might be church or the golf course or their work or whatever it may be. But I think to me, Rare Roses has been able to be a community to a lot of people who like pop culture, like fashion, like music, just like-minded individuals that.
So do you feel like Rare Roses has a community where people are kind of following wherever Rare Roses goes? So if there's a pop-up that's announced, do you have a lot of loyalists, if you will?
Yeah.
Always show up to those pop-ups regardless of where it is.
100%.
And
sometimes hours early.
And we'll we actually outside. Have some people in the community here in the studio with us that are actually watching the podcast live. So that's pretty cool. As far as creating that community, is it something that you focus on, or does it just happen by organically?
I think originally it started organically. It wasn't something I was like this has to happen. I got to focus on this, yada yada. I think it was more as time went on, I realized like, oh wow, like when you're kind to people, when you make people feel welcomed and good about themselves, they'll tend to want to be around you. And I think that it's how I want people to treat me, and so it's how I want to treat other people. And I think it's just kind of benefited the business, kind of having a place that people can come feel seen, feel heard, feel stylish. You know, they might go into a certain place and no one really cares that they spent half their check on an outfit, but if you come to the Rare Roses warehouse, I will gas you up so hard.
Okay, so how do people get a hold of you? How do they get, as you said, gassed? Is that how I say it? I'll gas you up.
Yeah.
How do people get gassed up?
Oh, just come around. I'll gas you up. I'm good at compliments, you know, and never an ungenuine one. I'm not going to gas someone up if they're doing it wrong.
But you okay? So but how can they get fitted with Rare Roses? How do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to shop?
I mean, Instagram is my main way of promoting the brand.
Now let's go ahead and throw the Instagram tag here.
Rare.roses is the gram.
Okay.
I mean, it's really just me. And so if you shoot a DM there, I'm reading it. I've seen a lot of people that are like, oh, when I run my small business, I always respond with we think and we this. And I'm like, it's not, I'll just respond, hey, yeah, I'll send this out tomorrow if you want it. Or yeah, if you want to come by, I'll be here tomorrow. Like, it's a lot more.
And people can show up to your store.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not necessarily an hour thing. I like to keep it genuine and one-on-one. It's a more fun experience, I think, for both parties. And
so it's appointments that you're setting up, essentially.
Yep.
And you can do that via Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And then pop-ups. Is there a schedule that we can follow, or how does that work?
They're a little random. I like to pop out to other friends that have businesses. Actually, tomorrow, Cooperative's having a pop-up. This will probably come out after that. But, you know, they're good friends. They have good people around them. They bring a good crowd. And so
do they carry some of your designs at their store always?
For the most part, yeah. Sometimes they'll kind of sell out, and it'll take me a little bit of a minute to get some new stuff in there. But for the most part, there's stuff in there. And then when it comes to pop-ups, I'll bring in a whole setup, a whole bunch of racks, a whole bunch of product. Essentially what's in my store.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to come to a close just due to time. This has been awesome. Props to you. Props to your business. Props for doing all these really cool things at such a young age. So the last question I want you to elaborate on is advice for any person watching or listening that is maybe on the younger side. They have a business idea or just an idea to make the world better and greater. What would your advice be? What's your maybe top 2 things that they should do?
Number 1 is consistency. I think if you show up for yourself every day and you just keep that going. I mean, I've seen 20 plus clothing brands in Utah County alone over my life, maybe even more. And other than the ones that have started more recently, I'm the only one that's gone over a span of 2, 3, 4 years. Most of them kind of stopped going, which, you know, they might have moved on to new things, whatever it may be, but you just got to keep going, you know? Like, you'll find the things that work and you'll find the things that don't work, and you'll just keep building upon that, and that knowledge will benefit you.
How many times have you thought of quitting?
Oh, I think about it every week. I think about it all the time. But I mean,
it's just part for the course, though.
It's just part of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you hit a tough moment and you think, oh, this would be easier if I did this. This would be easier if I went and did this. But it's like, the grass is green where you water it. So just put in that work and just keep trying. And obviously at some point you might need a pivot, you know? I took a pivot. I was doing just vintage and I stayed within clothes, but I pivoted and did vintage and my own brand. And that was the most beneficial thing I could have done. But it was part of the process. Just kept going, kept building. So
okay, so keep going. Number 2, what would be the second piece of advice you'd give our young entrepreneurs out there?
Embrace being young. I think when I was 19 and I was around mentors or older business people that I looked up to, and they kept, oh, you're so young, oh, you're so this, and I would get kind of offended by it. It's like, that youthfulness was actually kind of why they had me around.
Your superpower.
I think that it really benefited me. And I mean, still, like, I feel old now, but it's like, I'm young and it still benefits me. I got time in the day. I got energy to go. It's like, that will benefit you. And if you can but if you can be elite and you can work hard and you can do it at a young age, people will respect that more than anything. Because, you know, you meet a 40-year-old and they don't have their shit together, you're going to think, they're never going to get it. But you meet someone that's young and they got their shit together, they're going to have that for the rest of their life.
Sure.
You know, they're going to continue to get better and better and better because they started at such a young age.
So be consistent, don't give up was advice number 1. And number 2, it's embrace your youth.
Yeah.
View it as a superpower and take advantage of your vibrancy and your ideas and your ability to like go through stuff that's tough because your youth is on your side. Okay. All right. Beautiful, beautiful podcast, beautiful interview. Thanks so much for being a part of this thing. And I wish you all the success in the world. Keep doing what you do. Keep pushing the status quo. That's how greatness is made. If you think of all the stories, people were going against the grain.
Yeah.
When the toughness came, they became even tougher. And those are the stories that are worth telling. The stories that we told today is when you got in that cease and desist, when somebody stole your hat and all of a sudden it's on TV, and when somebody robbed your store. I always say this, but the darkest nights produce the brightest stars. So one problem that we have as human beings is thinking that we shouldn't have any problems. That's the problem in and of itself. And once we see that problems are actually gifts, that's when life becomes beautiful. Thanks for being part of this thing.
Thank you
This
for
is
having
Live
me.
Life by Design.
That was awesome.